Yeah, that would be pretty interesting to have that.
That aspect, yeah. And Mike is lost again. And are we getting him back? Is he there? There he is.
Yeah, we're not really having good luck this
Yeah.
time. I don't know what's going on with my cell signal as we're doing this off FaceTime right now.
Yeah, honestly,
But
I blame the weather because I've had bad Wi-Fi all day, and I think just when it's cold, you know, the signals just go bad. And when you mix
yeah,
in snow, that never helps as well. It leads to blackouts. So
yeah,
thank God we don't have a blackout because no power, no podcast. All
yeah.
right.
So at least we're still getting this out there.
Yeah, true. Any other final thoughts on Suicide Squad?
Um, I think it's very, very, very smart for them to get James Gunn. I think that's probably the best thing out of this. I mean, the first Suicide Squad could have been great, but it kind of wasn't. And it had a good director. It had pretty much everything good going for it, but the editing killed it. Hopefully, they let James Gunn have full control of this movie, make what he wants, and they'll have another hit on their hands like Aquaman and this in the reigns at least the Guardians of the Galaxy that have a Guardians of the Galaxy-esque hit for them because James Gunn really is master of these group movies.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to the new cast of characters because I want, even if we have some returners, I hope Jai Courtney's Captain Boomerang returns because honestly, it doesn't seem like he's that busy with other films, and Captain Boomerang, is not going to get his own spin-off anytime soon, so I hope he returns. I think Killer Croc was pleasantly surprising, I think, so if we could get him to return, that would also be great. But yeah, I'm looking forward to James Gunn introducing a whole new cast of characters to the DCEU because, I mean, he introduced us 5 obscure Marvel characters in Guardians of the Galaxy. Even more than that.
Like economically, yeah.
Yeah, even more than that in the sequel with Yondu and Nebula and Mantis, who even played a huge role in Infinity War. So James Gunn can take these obscure characters and turn them into fan favorites. So I think that's why we absolutely have to look forward
to
those
the characters are one of the most economically viable characters now.
Yeah.
I mean, you see Star Lord's face put on everything. Everyone loves Groot. 10 years ago, ask me who Groot was, I couldn't answer you. I mean, so there's that.
Yeah, absolutely. So honestly, I'm looking forward to this new Suicide Squad, a fresh look for the DCEU, and honestly, I wouldn't really care for a Suicide Squad after the original, but if we have James Gunn attached and we're basically doing a relaunch, as they call it, couldn't be more excited. All right, with that being said, that ends our DC news, and we're going to go on to the extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile trailer. Mike had a fantastic segue that I wish I thought of earlier in the show in our pre-show notes, but yeah, I'm going to read a little spill here. This comes from Standard.co, based in the UK. Zac Efron's new Ted Bundy biopic, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, is fast becoming one of the most talked about movies of the year. The film tells the story of one of the U.S.'s most notorious serial killers, with Efron cast as the man who confessed to 30 homicides between 1974 and 1978. Directed by Joe Berlinger, whose documentary series Conversations with a Killer, The Ted Bundy Tapes, arrived on Netflix recently. The film premiered at the Sundance Film Festival earlier this month, where it was met with morbid curiosity and mixed reviews. The Guardian praised Efron's performance, but not the project, writing, "It's a star vehicle that starts and ends with its star, the film around him struggling to justify its existence. Efron is wicked, the film less so." So, Mike, after reading that basic premise of what the movie is and some early reactions from it at Sundance, what are your thoughts?
It's too bad that critics aren't really liking it right now. I mean, that kind of sucks. Even though I'm on Rotten Tomatoes right now, it's at 82, so it's good enough for me. But oh no, this is a documentary. Never mind. But no, it's sometimes movies like that with just one actor carrying it can still work out pretty well. I do think this movie is gonna make pretty decent sized budget because of Zac Efron being a big star. Not been in a lot lately, but I hope it's good. I mean, I love stuff like this.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Zac Efron in a lead role. I think he's been one of Hollywood's rising stars for a very long time, and we've seen him in the comedic roles in Neighbors, Neighbors 2. He also had the movie with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Baywatch, as well.
Yes.
He's had a lot of shine in these comedic roles. I think there was a Dirty Grandpa with Robert De Niro, I believe. So he's had a lot of shine as comedic roles, which seems to be kind of the segue for these like pretty boy former kid show actors. We saw it with Channing Tatum because Channing Tatum started off with the Jump Street movies, shining in Hollywood, and then was able to transition into more dramatic roles with Foxcatcher with Steve Carell. Pretty dramatic role we saw with Tatum there. And he also had a movie about a virus outbreak. The title is escaping me right now. But basically, the idea that comedic actors like Efron and Tatum can transition into these darker roles, and it seems like let's talk about the trailer. I'm getting a little off topic. The trailer itself stirred controversy because people are claiming it makes Ted Bundy out to be too likable. Now, my initial thoughts to that is, of course, because that's the whole thing with Ted Bundy. He's charismatic. You said he was his own lawyer in his court case, I believe.
He was. Yes, he was.
And so this idea that he was this cruel monster killer, like, he was, but that was inner. What we saw on the outside was this charming, charismatic guy. And I think that is what even makes it more scary, that people are so disturbed by Efron's performance just by the 2-minute trailer saying that he's too charming. I think that's a testament to how well Efron performed as Ted Bundy.
Yeah, definitely. I'm on the Rotten Tomatoes page for the movie now. It's at 63, so that's still fresh.
Yeah.
I'll read the consensus. It says, long movie title, I don't want to say, often transcends its narrative limitations through sheer force of Zac Efron's performance. So this is really Zac Efron's movie, it seems. This is something I'm definitely going to try to see. It's hard to see movies here in Newport. There's only one little theater, and it's in Middletown, which is kind of far from where I am. So not really the best location for movies, but I feel like this is definitely going to be a movie that's going to be stuck on a streaming service. That's no bad point to the movie. I feel like it's just going to be there. So hopefully I get around to see this, but I'm really looking forward to it. It's gotten, as long as like the main actor got good reviews, I'll still go see the movie. It's similar. Remember The Founder when that first came out?
Yeah.
It kind of mixed a little bit of mixed. I think a little higher than this, but everyone praised
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton's performance as Ray Kroc. So Ray Kroc. He was a killer in the business, but not really a serial killer. But it's kind of interesting to see more movies about like kind of like sex and history. Not like sex, little. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sections of history. Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Pinpoints.
That's a great analogy there. I'm looking forward to this movie. The trailer caught my eye, and it's one of those movies that I'm going to make it a priority out to see. So I don't care what the critics are saying right now. I want to formulate my own opinion, and if anything, this is Efron's time to shine. Even if it turns out that the movie as a whole isn't amazing, it's Efron's movie. So it's time for Efron to break out into one of these A-list stars that we have thought he could be for a very long time. So yeah, extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile. Let me get that release date for you real quick. That stars Zac Efron, and it is released. Its initial release was on January 26th. Let me get its wide release. Its wide release is also, it says January 26th, so it might be in theaters right now, but I'm pretty sure it's limited right now. And we'll see a wider release later on. Because right now
it does get a wide release.
It absolutely will get a wide release. With all those people talking about it, there's no way it won't. All right, with that being said, we're going to move on to a bit of a new segment we have here, and we're going to call this Free for All News. And it's basically going to be me and Mike are going to run down. We'll do 60 seconds to a minute and a half of 2 news topics of our choice. And with that being said, I'm going to let Mike take the reins first. Just give his basic reaction to whatever he wants. So, Mike, introduce your news topic and give us your reaction.
All right. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood images were released recently, and I'm beyond happy. Quentin Tarantino is my favorite director of all time, and it's kind of been a while since he's put a movie out. We had Django and Hateful Eight, the last two kind of close to each other. But this one definitely goes back to kind of his Reservoir Dogs Pulp Fiction day. He's straying away from Westerns, which he's kind of been so close to recently, and he's back to L.A. crime, which is probably what he does best. Jackie Brown, Pulp Fiction, probably some of his best movies. These pictures are awesome. Not only is it Quentin's return, it's also Leonardo DiCaprio's return. He hasn't been in a movie since The Rev in 2015.
Yeah, that's true. It's DiCaprio's return to acting.
So as we go through the pictures, do you have any other pictures up? I got them up if we're going to go look through them. So we got one with Quentin. I don't know who he's talking to, but they're on set in some kind of bar. Then we have Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate. Another Margot Robbie news. She looks just like Sharon Tate, though. It's very uncanny. I wonder what they're going to do with her. I mean, she was infamously murdered by Charles Manson's little gang of criminals. I don't know if they're going to have Charles Manson in the movie. There's no official casting of Charles Manson, so maybe they're not going to do it. I don't think they should. I think this movie isn't about that. It's just about the time period around that. I definitely think some of the themes are going to be like the 60s becoming the 70s. Kind of similar to a movie called Boogie Nights that I really like. The theme of kind of like the 70s becoming the 80s. This is where the 60s becoming the 70s because it's just a new time for America. I definitely think that's going to be a huge theme of this movie. At least because the actors, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, they're playing... as a Western actor, Brad Pitt is a Western stunt double. Westerns are becoming less popular now, and this is kind of what happens to them, I guess. There's not a lot about this movie out right now. These pictures are pretty much all we have, besides other paparazzi pictures. But it's I'm really happy that Quentin's going back to his roots, and really, really looking forward to this. What do you think, man?
Absolutely, and I'm hoping we get some footage as soon as Sunday. Maybe we'll get a little TV spot at the Super Bowl. I think that's the perfect time to...
I don't know if Quentin would have something on the Super Bowl.
It's true, but
maybe.
We saw Stranger Things do a TV spot at the Super Bowl. I think it's the perfect time to advertise Tarantino and DiCaprio's return to film. Because even though a lot of Super Bowl audiences want the big blockbuster movies, I would argue that this is on the verge of becoming a blockbuster with its cast and with its director.
All right. Quentin's movies always make a lot of money, so.
Absolutely. With that being said, I'm going to give my free-for-all news topic, and that is Hobbs and Shaw. Hobbs and Shaw recently released some character posters with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson returning as Luke Hobbs. We have Jason Statham returning as Deckard Shaw, and then we also have Idris Elba playing the villain. I believe his name is Brixton, and these posters look just... There's nothing crazy about them. They look like they're generic characters. But we also have WWE superstar Roman Reigns, who is also The Rock's cousin, is playing The Rock's brother in this movie, which I think is very interesting news. He's currently out of action in the WWE because he has leukemia. Unfortunately, we wish him the fastest of recoveries. But it's good to see him, getting into Hollywood because we see a lot of WWE guys, John Cena, Dave Bautista, The Rock, venturing into Hollywood eventually, so who knows, this might be the beginning of a big career for him. But with that being said, Hobbs and Shaw, we're actually expecting a trailer tomorrow. The first trailer is supposed to drop tomorrow, so we can talk about that next week on the show, as well as all of our Super Bowl recap stuff. But yeah, Hobbs and Shaw looks interesting. People see it as a cash cow, but The Rock is very passionate about his projects, no matter what they are, even if they are kind of stupid. Rampage was a bit stupid, but I'm excited to see where they go with Hobbs and Shaw. All right, and with that being said...
Definitely very interesting. This is kind of like a lot of wrestlers in there. We're ending? All right.
Yeah. Well, we have about a minute and a half left, so if you're ready to roll credits, I am as well.
Let's roll them.
All right, with that being said, I had to cut off Mike a little bit at the end, but we are wrapping up with about a minute left here, so I don't want to go over and cut off the show entirely. We want to thank all of you guys for joining us. We're sorry for coming out a couple days late, but those couple days accumulated a ton of movie news, so it was a blessing in disguise, I guess. Mike, what are your final thoughts?
As just said before, there's a lot of news that just came out. It's good to talk about it. Definitely looking forward to Super Bowl trailers. Maybe we'll get a surprise. As always, very smart. Just give us a surprise,
Absolutely. So much to look forward to Sunday with the big game. Go Pats, as always. But we could also be expecting an Endgame TV spot, Hobbs and Shaw TV spot, even a Once Upon a Time in a Hollywood TV spot. Such a great day for movie teasers, trailers, all that great stuff. With that being said, you can find me on Twitter at LiamCrowley714.
And you can find me everywhere at MikeGillis25.
Also, be sure to follow the podcast at Block Break Pod. That is the new handle, at Block Break Pod. Make sure to tweet all your questions, comments, and concerns. We'd love to do a Q&A segment eventually. But with that being said, we are running out of time. About 8 seconds left here. I'm Liam Crowley. That has been Mike Gillis.
I'm Mike Gillis.
And thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you next week.